Welcome back, guys. Double V. Appreciate you coming back. This is, this is part two of the First Time Gun Buyers 2026 series. It's a three-part series. This is part dos. Un, deux. It's French. I mess around a little bit with languages, just a little bit. But if you like my content, I need to get better about asking for this. Like, subscribe, share. I would appreciate that. I really want to grow this channel. And I'm gonna be transparent here. I'm a transparent type dude. I would like to get sponsored and continue to grow this thing and have a lot of fun with you guys. So yeah, do that for me. It's free. Just like, subscribe, share it, whatever the case may be. Part two of 2026 Gun Buyer Series. Part one, we kind of covered even before you get into the gun store. We ain't want to get ahead of ourselves. You got to be able to have a certain mental and emotional posture. And I'll let you know about some general things that you should probably be considering before you come to the gun store. Part two, you're here. You've made your way, and now you're at the gun store. You've actually put manifestation behind thought. Good thing. So, first category we're going to cover today, now that you're at the gun store, you're at the counter, fit and ergonomics. Grip angle and natural point of aim. This is a big deal for people. Glock has a funky grip angle. Smith & Wessons don't. Smith & Wesson is based off a 1911 platform, which I know you don't know what that means, but just imagine this. You go back in time. You're in the 90s. You're playing TLC is playing at the grandma's house. You guys are playing cops and robbers in the backyard. And this is how you would fake play cops and robbers like this. Bang, bang, bang. You would point your index fingers and you would use your thumbs as the quote unquote hammer. You aim a Smith & Wesson or a M&P, something like that. It's not going to make you dead accurate, okay? But it's a good starting point to be able to shoot that gun relatively well. The Glock is not like that. It does this funny Austrian thing where you got to like cant your wrist at an angle and then aim with your offhand thumb. It's kind of weird, but it does work. I'm a Glock carrier. Well, that is my striker fire platform of choice, but that's just for me. So fit and ergonomics are a very big deal. Trigger reach and comfort. All right, so when you grab the pistol, if you can't reach the trigger with your trigger finger, probably shouldn't buy it. I have decent mitts on me, so there's very few guns that, honestly, I don't think I've ever held a pistol that I couldn't reach or, whatever the case may be. I have shot a Desert Eagle 50 AE before, but 3 rounds of that, and I was good. Like, no, I don't have to shoot that gun ever again, and I would be totally fine. Like, that was more than enough. But you need to be able to reach your trigger on your firearm without readjusting how you're holding the pistol. So you need to be able to grab it, reach the trigger, pull it. Pay attention to that because it's something people don't pay attention to typically, because if you have good gun discipline, you're typically not trying to put your finger on the trigger finger in the gun store. But kind of, pay attention to that a little bit. Make sure you can reach the trigger comfortably. Slot manipulation and strength. This is a big deal, especially for older people, carpal tunnel surgery, or women. Some of those compact guns that women are attracted to are the slides. They're very tight. I mean they're tight. They're not the easiest to rack. You do have the Smith & Wesson Easy Shield. That is a very good option, and people like that a lot because the slide is just very easy to rack. I'm not a big fan of the ergonomics of it, but people will deal with the ergonomics of it. It has like an oblong shaped handle. It's kind of funny. But people would deal with those ergonomics in order to be able to manipulate the slide. So they would prioritize that slide manipulation over the ergonomics of the gun. So pay attention to that. Make sure you can manipulate the slide and rack it properly. Recoil, impulse, and control. So obviously, in this category, you have to go shoot the gun. So just because you came to the gun store doesn't mean you have to leave with the gun. I would recommend you go in, get some good feels, get all the feels you're looking for, and then go to a gun range and shoot one. Typically, i.e. Fast Metal Range, has a plethora of rentals, and most likely the gun you're looking at, they have there to rent, or a different indoor range has plenty of rentals. Go rent the gun for $20. Go shoot it. Make sure you like it, okay? Because sometimes a gun can feel good in your hand in the store, and then when you go to shoot it, you're like, this thing sucks, all right? how it feels after 20 or 30 rounds, not just dry handling. Dry handling is a very important part. You need the dry fire practice. Very important. That's how you can get a lot of reps in dry firing. But this is me reiterating you going to the range and shooting it. Like when you go that first time, don't just shoot a mag. Get you 2 boxes of ammo, 50 rounds in each box, 100 rounds, and get some rounds down range and see if you actually like this thing. All right? Next category we want to look at is the type of firearms. And we're gonna stick it to polymer here. All right. We don't want no steel, heavy, nothing like that. No aluminum. I know aluminum is significantly lighter. We want to stick to polymer firearms. Striker fire and hammer fire. Now they both have their pros, and I think it depends on who you are. I really don't think neither one of them have a con. It just depends on you. Well, the striker fire has a slight con. Slight, and I'll get to that here. So the pros of the striker fire, consistent trigger. Once you rack the slide, every time you pull the trigger, it's going to be the exact same trigger pull. All right, very consistent, very easy. You can get a rhythm going with that. You know when it's going to reset. You know when it's going to go bang because it's consistent. The next thing is a simple manual of arms. Striker fire platforms are very simple. Most of them don't have a quote unquote safety on the frame of the gun. They're typically on the shoe of the trigger. We call it the dingus. Like you'll see oh my gosh. We call it a dingus, okay? You got the trigger shoe, and then you'll see this little part that sticks out. If you don't press that in all the way, it won't go bang. So if you just grab part of the trigger shoe and try to pull back, it won't go. You have to have the pad of your trigger finger completely over the trigger in order for it to push that in and for the firearm to actually shoot. Great for beginners. It's great for beginners because it's simple. It's very, very simple. And I like that. I like that about them a lot. It's very easy to get behind. There's very few people that have a hard time figuring out how to operate a striker fire platform. Now, as I get into hammer fire, the one caveat I have with striker fire platforms being good for beginners is reholstering. Okay, because there's no way to index it, and this is a feature that the hammer fires have that striker fires don't. You can put your finger on the hammer for a hammer fire, and as you reholster it, you have to have trigger discipline when you're reholstering your striker fire. Keep your finger off the trigger, because if you're reholstering and you with your finger on the trigger, and as you're going down, you can accidentally pop yourself. You don't want to do that. We don't need any more cheddar bobs running around here, okay? Because you have poor trigger discipline. You won't. Yeah, don't cheddar bob yourself. So on to hammer fires. First thing I put, they're better for appendix carry. It's because of the hammer. We're not going to get too much into why, because when you get into why, you start getting into how these guns operate, and you're a beginner. You're just not that nerdy yet. Like I get the mechanical background of it, and like I know not only how to use it, but I actually know how it works. So we don't want to get down that rabbit hole. That's down the line. But the hammer fire is better for appendix carry because of the safety features. Let's just keep it simple. Because of the safety features of it. The hammer is a big part of that. All right? More control for new shooters. That has more to do with the double action, single action. So it's not a consistent trigger pull like your striker fire. Your first pull is very heavy. Once the safety is off, there's something called a decocker. Not going to get into great detail on that, but it makes your trigger pull heavier. Okay. But that first pull is heavy. It's kind of in there as another safety as well. So like if you pull that trigger the first time, it's like you really meant to do it, because it's like, 10 to 12 pounds of pressure you got to apply in order to get that trigger to go back and pull. After that double action trigger pull, you are now in single action, and it behaves much like a striker fire pistol. When I say that, I mean it becomes consistent. Okay, consistent reset, consistent trigger pull. You just have a hammer that goes back every time. Well, stays back every time you shoot the pistol. The polymer hammer fire trend. So I just don't want you to skip over polymer hammer fires. We are literally in a culture of striker fire this, striker fire that, striker fire, striker fire, striker fire. And they're great guns. But a hammer fire may be for you. It really may. There's some great options out there that are still holding on. Some are just legendary, like the H&K USP. It's definitely a legendary platform. It was made in the 90s and is still kicking butt today. It's an awesome gun. You want a newer, updated one with the optic cut, which I told you about. So Ixtay USP, because you got to do a lot of aftermarket stuff to get it up to modern standards. Still a great pistol, though. The CZP-09 comes optic cut. They're now getting redone by Langdon. So that would be a phenomenal option for first-time gun buyers who are interested in hammer fire as opposed to striker fire. Lighter, modernized, and hybrid benefits. All right. I'm talking because typically you think of a hammer fire pistol, you're thinking about a heavy steel 1911, a CZ Shadow 2. A polymer hammer fire gets rid of the weight with all of the benefits. It has the polymer of the striker fire and all of the benefits of the steel hammer fires. So meeting in that halfway point, I really think it's the way to go. I think especially for beginners. Now, me personally, I carry a multitude. I do carry a Glock. My Glock 19 Gen 6 is literally on the appendix right now. But I also do carry, the rest of my guns are hammer fire. The only striker fire I have is Glock. That's how much I revere hammer fire platform. I think they're awesome. I have a USP 40, I have a Mark 23, and all that good stuff like that. Yeah, it's that golden point of, nope, it's too heavy at steel, but I can take the polymer from the striker fire platform, and I can also bring the manipulation from the steel platform and put them in one, and you get a pretty awesome platform to learn how to shoot a firearm with. Next category we're going to talk about is caliber choices. Bullets, right? You got to know what caliber you're going to shoot. People may disagree with this. I think most people won't, for the most part. 9mm is the best all around for new shooters, plain and simple. It's available. It's light on recoil. It's, I'm 9 out of 10, I'm quite sure your first gun's going to be a 9mm, plain and simple. If you struggle with recoil, there is a 380, which a 380 is just a chopped 9mm, like a Smith and a 40 cal is a chopped 10 mil. Okay. 380 is a chopped 9. And it's great. It's a great little round. There's a lot of great guns in 380. The ammo is nothing's easiest to find is 9mm, but there is 380 ammo and it's plentiful out there. Okay. So if you are one of them people who are recoil sensitive, it doesn't make you less than, just get a 380. All right. Okay. You'll be totally fine. You'll be totally fine with a 380. 380 has the ballistic coefficient of a 380 has a lot of stopping power at the ranges, which is 7 to 10 yards that a self-defense situation is going to happen in. You'll be just fine. So once again, preference and do what fits you. Last caliber I want to talk about is 22. 22 is not slept on, but if you want to train a lot, I think 22 is the way to go. Ammo prices, they're not terrible by any means, but you can get a lot of 22 rounds and do a lot of training for very, very cheap. The only thing 22 is not going to replicate would be the recoil impulse, because it just doesn't move when you shoot it. The 22 guns are a lot bigger than what you think they would be for a caliber that small, but it literally doesn't move. But you can focus on all the little things, drawing from holster, where your hand fits, all that good stuff while shooting 22, because it's just cheap to do. And you can get rep after rep after rep after rep and don't feel like, oh, I got to stop shooting because every time I pull the trigger, I hear a money sign. I hear it go cha-ching. So you don't have to worry about that with 22. Next category, features that matter in 2026, that matter. Optics ready slide, top of my list. There are some guns out there that don't have an optic ready slide. I would highly recommend you stay away from that. That we are in 2026 and there are a lot of great firearms that have optic ready slides that are ready to go. Even if you don't use it right away, you definitely want that on your first pistol. Okay. Accessory rail. Accessory rail is where you will put a light at. Got to have one. There are some guns that are proprietary. The guns you see that are modern but don't have an accessory rail are more like gentleman's gun, all right? Like the Dan Wesson DWX Compact, they make one with an accessory rail and one without an accessory rail. And that's totally fine. That gun is in its own, it's like this, it's on its own little echelon or sphere, right? So you're not quite there yet. So I would definitely recommend you getting a pistol with an accessory rail that accepts all of our lights, our stream lights, are surefires of those nature. Okay. Next thing that's important is good aftermarket support, meaning you want to be able to buy your gun and buy a holster for it. Man, sometimes people, you buy a gun and it's all good, it's great, and because they don't have a great aftermarket support, you can't find a holster for it. So if you can't find a holster for it, that means you can't carry it. Whoa. So, and not just holsters, but many things. Man, I mean, the accessory list of firearms are long. So make sure there's good aftermarket support with those. Glocks, Smiths, Springfields, HKs, Walthers. It's very hard. So what I'm saying is avoid stuff that's brand new. Like new kids on the block. This is a new striker fire or hammer fire platform and it does this. You just haven't given aftermarket support enough time to create things. To study the weapon, it has to go to R&D, research and development, and create accessories for it. It has to be right because they don't want to create an accessory too quick and then it aids in the malfunctioning of the pistol. They want to avoid that. So you got to give them a minute. So it takes a minute for that stuff to take place, okay? So you want good aftermarket support. It's a big deal. Proven reliability record. You want something that goes bang. All right, plain and simple. You want something that's been out and the manufacturer has a great track record of reliability and the weapon itself has a great track record of reliability. And that way you can start building confidence. In order to become confident with your first firearm, it has to be reliable. You can't be having stovepipes, failure to ejects every 6-7 rounds. You are not going to get confident. The building of your confidence with a firearm starts with your confidence in your firearm, that you know it's going to go bang when you shoot it. And then we build confidence from there. Ambi controls. There are some of you out here who are wrong-handed. Most platforms do come so you can manipulate the firearm with either hand. The issue that left-handers have is that when you're, shooting this side, the ejection port's over here, so bullets are ejecting kind of across your face. Me as a right-hander, I really don't worry about that. They kind of go outside of my line of sight. So just be wary of that. It's not a big deal. Left-handers have been shooting for years. You're not the only left-hander if you're a left-hander. You're not the first left-hander to pick up a pistol. They've been doing just fine for a ton of years. So just get some ambi controls. It'll help you out. Last category of video 2, features that don't matter in 2026. Extreme slide cuts. You see these pistols, then they got all of the lightning cuts on them, and they poured it on top. They got all sorts of, Tryon cuts and Triton cuts, and it looks all cool. Don't get caught up in that. Really don't. They look cool, and I'm not saying some people are like, if you get a pistol with extreme lightning cuts or something like that on it, extreme slide cuts is gonna not run. That's not the case. I just think it's something that you pay for that you really don't need at this point. Fancy coatings. This is funny because Cerakote's a big deal. Some people like to drip their gun out. I remember Canik years back, I think it was 2-3 summers ago, they came out with the Miami edition. I think it was TP9's Miami edition, where they had one that was turquoise. It was literally turquoise with like hot pink Miami vibe on it. And then the other one was black with turquoise and pink all over it with like the Miami skyline. It was about as flamboyant and loud as you can get. If you were, Tubbs and Crockett from Miami Vice and you had your flannel and your mustache, you walk around with your taco meat hanging out your chest, then maybe that's your vibe. Maybe that's what you want to do. But for your first time gun buyer, I'll put that in check. Kind of save that for another time, okay? Competition triggers on a carry gun. This is a big one. I guarantee you that if you're a beginner and you're starting this journey out and you throw a competition trigger, meaning the trigger is very light, meaning it doesn't take much to get it to go off, and it resets very quick, I am 100% sure you are going to have an ND, which is a negligent discharge, meaning you shot the firearm when you were not trying to. You don't need a competition trigger to start off. You really don't. Those things are really light. 3-pound trigger, and there are some that are even less than that. I don't think you understand how light that is. It does not take much. Once that gun is racked and that bullet is in the chamber, I've had some guns where you just literally like this. That's literally all it is, and it's going off. Avoid the competition triggers. They're Gucci. They're cool. They allow you to shoot fast. Avoid it for now. Brand loyalty. Now, some of you, you may come from families who say, buy a Glock, that's all you buy. Buy a Smith, that's all you buy. Buy a CZ, that's all you buy. All good and well, but what if that doesn't work for you? What if that brand loyalty that's been passed down throughout generations is just not your swag? It's just not your cup of tea. That's totally fine. Don't buy off brand loyalty. I have different brands. I am inherently an HK guy. Overall, HK is my jam. That's who I ride with. From rifles to pistols, not their VP9, but their Hammerfire polymer pistols, the P30, which is one I forgot to mention earlier, phenomenal platform. The USPs, the Mark 23s, their rifles, I naturally gravitate toward them. But that's who I am. That's for me. For you, it may be PSA. It may be Daniel. It may be American Defense Manufacturing. It may be Griffith. As far as pistols, it may be Walther. I think Walthers are some of the coolest looking pistols, but I suck at shooting them. They kind of hurt my hand, honestly. That ergonomics and fit thing doesn't work for me on a Walther. So don't be brand loyal because of what you see other people do. Find what works from you. Appreciate you guys. You made it through part 2 of this video. I'm hoping you're learning. I hope I'm giving you information that's valuable to you if you're really thinking about getting into buying your first firearm. I think it's a very big deal that us have been in it, make videos from time to time, kind of ushering the new people along. Once again, in this video, there will be, in the description, I collabed with Copper Custom, and we created a PDF printout for you that you can print it out. We're kind of old school that way. I'm not going to make fun of the young cats for putting everything in the cloud and, using a stapler. But you can print this out, kind of get your mind right. Give you some things to think about as you're going through that process of becoming a gun owner. You live in Northwest Indiana or Indiana in general, bring it on into Copper Custom. We love to sit down and talk with you, have a great conversation with you about what owning a firearm looks like and what options are available to you and what makes sense for you. If you're not in Indiana, oh well, take it to your local gun shop. We want to support you from sea to shine and sea. All right. We want to make sure you got what you need to be able to make this purchase somewhat educated. You're going to get really educated when you really get into it, but we want to give you some sort of a platform to go off of. As always, guys, appreciate the like and subscribe. Love you guys. Peace and blessings. Double V.